this video, I will expect you to have a basic understanding of genetics as a whole, but I will explain the specific genes that I use. Of course, I'm not a professional, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt, and I don't know shades. Don't yell at me. Enjoy the video. I will start out with my OC's family tree and then move on to canon ones if this gets enough views. But anyways, that makes Lingonberrystar, her mates, and her million kids. However, we will be ignoring her parents. I'm sorry. These are the notes that I will be using for this project. Feel free to pause and read them if you'd like. Moving on, finally, to the actual genomes and characters. Starting off with the main gal, Lingonberrystar. Now, this is her quote-unquote canon appearance. And to my knowledge, now I could be wrong, this is just not, realistically possible because she's red, aka ginger, and ginger alleles stop non-agouti from working. Non-agouti is basically just no stripes. And this means that all ginger cats will appear like tabbies even if they're genetically solid. This is a problem because Lingonberrystar is ginger, but she has no stripes. Ideally, my Lingonberrystar would be genetically solid, but because she's ginger, if she was, she would look like this. And this is quite stripy. This is not what we want. Luckily for us, however, there is an agouti modifier that gets rid of most of the visible stripes, and it's called ticked. Ticked, coded by capital TA, overrides what the MC locus does completely, and the cat is just ticked, which means that they will only have a little bit of striping. Homozygotes on this locus would lose more stripes than heterozygotes would, but I already know that I'm gonna have to make Lingonberrystar a heterozygote because some of her kids aren't ticked, and if she was a homozygote, then she would only have ticked to pass, which would make them ticked, which they're not. So we'll make her heterozygous. She, of course, also needs at least one capital A for agouti, so she can actually express the tick pattern, so she will not be genetically solid. How sad. Now on to the part that took me a million years to understand. Ginger is sex-linked, meaning that the locus for it is located on the X chromosome. So females who have 2 X chromosomes need 2 copies of capital O to be fully ginger. If they have 1 capital O and 1 little o, they will be tortoiseshell. Lingonberrystar is quite obviously not tortoiseshell, so we will make her homozygous capital O, of course. Fun fact, if we weren't ignoring her dearest parents, she would look like this. She would be a tortoiseshell, but we are ignoring her parents, so goodbye black base, bye. She's long hair, which is recessive, so that's 2 little L's, and low white, so that's SW. S codes for white spotting and is codominant with W, which codes for no white spotting. Homozygous WW cats have no white on them, heterozygous SW cats have under 50% white, and homozygous SS cats have over 50% white. That's all we need to know about her for now. Now moving on to her first husband, Grayfur. He is, of course, gray, so we will make him black with 1 capital B and dilute that black to make gray, aka blue, with 2 little d's. He's also a tabby, so that's at least 1 capital A. He's a classic tabby, so that's 2 little MCs. Little MC codes for classic, and it's recessive to capital MC mackerel. And he's short hair, so that's at least 1 capital L. Looking good so far. However, here's where we run into another problem. He has blue eyes. Now, in order to have blue eyes, a cat needs to have white on them, realistically near their face or eyes. But Grayfur has no white whatsoever. Now, we could give him a tiny splash of white and let him keep his blue eyes, but I'm just gonna make his eyes green. Lovely. Grayfur done. Now moving on to their children, starting off with Daykit. She is canonically a ticked cream tabby with green eyes, but I'm seeing a problem with that. Now, cream is dilute ginger, and remember that because Daykit is female, she will need 2 capital O's to be fully cream, aka ginger. But because her dad has no capital O to pass, she will have to be tortoiseshell. Luckily for us, tortoiseshells aren't just black and ginger, they're black base and ginger base. On the B locus with black, we have little b chocolate and B1 cinnamon. B1 cinnamon dilutes to fawn, which looks very similar to cream. So we can just make Daykit a fawn and cream tortoiseshell, and she will look very similar to her canon description. But where is she getting the cinnamon from? Well, easy. It's very recessive, so we can just make both her parents carry it, and she can get the cinnamon from both and be a cream and fawn tortoiseshell. She will need 2 of those B1s to actually express cinnamon. She's also short hair. That's easy. Dad just gives her that capital L he has, and mom can only pass little L's, so that makes her heterozygous here. Like her mom, Daykit is low white. That's easy. She just gets mom's S, and dad can only give W's, so she can be heterozygous very easily. Forgot to mention how she gets ticked and dilute. Grayfur's dilute, so he can only give little D's. That's easy. And Lingonberrystar is carrying dilute now. That's fine. She got ticked from her mom, who has a capital TA to pass, and dad only has little TAs, so she's heterozygous. And that's Daykit done. Now we move on to her sister Nightkit. She's canonically a gray tick tabby with yellow eyes. But I'm seeing a problem again. Here we must again remember the ginger paradox. Because Nightkit is female, she will need 2 little O's to not be ginger. But guess what her mom has? Because Nightkit can only get a capital O from her mom and only a little O from her dad, she will have to be tortoiseshell. Unfortunately, this is not as easy to hide as Daykit was, because she will have to be blue and ginger, or cream in this case. And cream stands out like a sore thumb against blue. But it has to be done. She's also getting a capital A from either parent so she can express the ticked pattern that her mom gave her. We've established that both her parents can give her little D's so she can be blue without any problems. She's also low white and short hair by the same means as Daykit was. And that's Nightkit. Luckily her blue is pretty light, so it was pretty easy to... Let's get the easy things out of the way first. We're gonna have to darken up her stripe color quite a bit so it's darker than her actual pelt, because that's how it occurs in nature. She's also blue, so that's dad's capital B and both of the little D's that they have. She's a classic tabby, so that's one of Grayfur's little MCs, and Lingonberrystar can carry 2, that's fine. We don't know what she has under ticked. However, Brindlenose is not ticked, so she will have to get mom's singular little TA, and dad can only give little TAs, so that's perfectly possible. She's long hair. That's okay, let's just make Grayfur carry it, and mom is long hair as well, so she has only little else to give. Up until this point, we were perfectly fine, but here's where we run into Ginger again. By the same means as Nightkit, Brindlenose will have to be tortoiseshell. And, like Nightkit, she has to be blue and cream. And even though it stands out like a sore thumb, even more than with Nightkit, we just have to get over it because this is how it goes. Of course, like her dearest father, she can't have blue eyes without white. And I'm just not gonna give her white. I'm gonna give her green eyes instead. She can get a W from both parents. And with that side of the family done finally, we will fly over to Lingonberrystar's second husband. Flameheart is a cinnamon mackerel tabby with short hair and blue eyes. First problem right there. Without white, Flameheart can't keep his blue eyes. I could give him white, but he shall gain the green eyes instead. That's all we need to know about him, actually. So let's move on to his kids with Lingonberrystar. Starting off with the most complicated one, aka their son, Firepelt. He's a cinnamon mackerel tabby with short hair, blue eyes, and low white. Do you see the problem? It's not the blue eyes this time, it's the cinnamon. Because Firepelt is male, he can only get an X chromosome from his mom because dad is giving him a Y chromosome instead. But neither of mom's X chromosomes have a little O in them. So he can't be cinnamon, he has to be ginger. Other than that, it's smooth sailing. He gets a capital MC from dad, a capital A from either parent, a capital L from dad, a little L from mom because that's all she has, and a S from mom, and a W from dad. And of course he gets non-ticked from both parents. And that's him. Now on to Foxpool. Canonically, she's a ginger tick tabby with low white and yellow eyes. But of course there's a problem, because she can't get a capital O from her dad, she can't have 2 of them like she has to be fully ginger, so she'll have to be tortoiseshell. I'm gonna make her cinnamon and ginger because cinnamon blends in with ginger easier than chocolate or blackwood. The rest is really simple. A capital A from either parent, a capital TA from mom, a little TA from dad because that's all he can give, so she's heterozygous, an S from mom, and a W from dad, and a B1 from both parents. We've established that Lingonberrystar carries, and Flameheart is only cinnamon. He can only give cinnamon. She's also long hair, so that's one of mom's little L's, and dad can carry too, that's fine. And that's her. Now we can move on to Heartnose. She's very similar to her mother, being a red, aka ginger cat with low white and green eyes. But of course, she has to have stripes if she's ginger, so we'll make her a tick tabby instead. She also, of course, has to be tortoiseshell because of her dad, so we're gonna make her a cinnamon and ginger tortoiseshell, much like Foxpool. Her genes are also very similar to Foxpool's. She gets the same low white, agouti, ticked, cinnamon, and long hair genes as Foxpool did. And now we can finally move on to the last character, which is gonna be Wingflight. Wingflight is a ginger mackerel tabby with blue eyes. There's 2 problems here. 1, blue eyes. 2, ginger. Her dad is not ginger. We're gonna have to make her a tortoiseshell. But first, for my own sanity, let's tackle the blue eyes. We could give her green eyes. I'm deciding not to. I'm just gonna make her a little white man. There we go. Now we can tackle Tortoiseshell. She's gonna be cinnamon and ginger by the same means as Foxpool and Heartnose were. She's also mackerel because of her dad, and non-tit because mom's headers, I guess she can give the little TA, and dad can only give little TAs because he's non-ticked. Woo, Wingflight done. And that brings us to the end of this very chaotic video. This took ages to make, so I would appreciate if you subscribed and hit the like button, of course. I never say that. Feels weird. Anyway, leave in suggestions to the comments for canon family trees that you want me to do once I've recovered from this hellscape. Bye.